Hey everyone, welcome back to BK Collectibles, your go-to source for everything coin collecting. Today, we're diving into one of the most exciting parts of the hobby, Aerocoins. These are coins that left the mint with mistakes, and some of them are worth serious money. Whether you're searching your pocket change, coin rolls, or flea markets, you never know when you might come across one of these valuable errors. So stick around, because we're going over some of the most well-known types of Aerocoins in the United States. And before we get started, make sure to subscribe to BK Collectibles so you never miss out on videos like this. Now, what exactly is an Aerocoin? An Aerocoin is any coin that was misstruck or produced incorrectly at the mint. These mistakes can range from minor flaws to dramatic, eye-catching errors that collectors love. The best part: many of these errors can be found in circulation, meaning you don't have to spend a fortune to find one. So let's get into some of the most well-known types of Aerocoins that you should be looking for. One of the most famous types of Aerocoins is the double die. This happens during the die creation process when the hub imprints the design onto the die multiple times in slightly different positions. When this defective die is then used to strike coins, all the coins produced will have the same doubling effect. A great example of a double die error is the 1955 double die Lincoln cent. The doubling on this coin is so extreme that it's visible to the naked eye, especially in the inscriptions Liberty. Another well-known example is the 1972 double die Lincoln cent, which also features strong doubling, particularly in the date. Not all double die errors are as dramatic, but any doubling in the lettering, numbers, or design elements can add significant value to a coin. Another major type of error is the off-center strike. This occurs when a coin is not properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing. Off-center errors can range from slight misalignments to extreme cases, where only a small portion of the design is visible. The value of an off-center coin depends on how much of the design is missing and whether the date is still readable. Generally, the more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin. A coin that is misaligned by 10% might not be worth much, but a coin that is 50% off-center with a full date can be worth a lot of money. A similar but distinct error is the broad strike. A broad strike occurs when a coin is struck without a collar, the device that helps form the coin's rim and keeps its shape during the striking process. Because the collar is missing, the metal spreads out more than usual, resulting in a wider, flatter coin with no defined rim. Broad strike errors can happen on any denomination, and they are especially valuable if the date and design are still fully visible. Another interesting error is the clipped planchet. This happens when the blank metal planchets used to create coins are improperly cut, leaving a section of the coin missing. Clipped planchets can come in various shapes, including straight clips, curved clips, and ragged clips. These errors occur when the sheet of metal is not properly aligned in the cutting machine, causing some planchets to be incomplete. While clipped planchet errors can add value, they are not always worth a fortune unless they are dramatic and clearly visible. Wrong planchet errors occur when a coin is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination or even a different type of coin altogether. For example, a 1943 Lincoln cent struck on a copper planch, it instead of a steel one, is an extremely valuable wrong planchet error. Similarly, some Roosevelt dimes have been found struck on cent planchets, giving them a copper color and making them highly collectible. Wrong planchet errors can be incredibly valuable, especially when they involve major denominations or precious metals. A striking error that is highly sought after by collectors is the die cap error. This happens when a coin gets stuck to the die after being struck and continues to strike other coins, leaving behind an unusual, stretched-out appearance. Over time, the coin that is stuck to the die becomes distorted, forming a cap shape. These errors are rare and can be worth a lot depending on the denomination and the severity of the cap. A similar type of striking error is the brokerage error. This occurs when a coin that was already struck gets stuck to the die and then leaves an impression on another blank coin. This results in a mirror image of the design on one side of the new coin, instead of the normal reverse or obverse design. Brokerage errors are rare and can be worth significant amounts, especially if the mirror image is strong and well defined. One of the most famous modern errors is the misprinted edge lettering error on the presidential dollars and Native American dollars. These coins were supposed to have inscriptions like E pluribus unum and the year on the edge, but some were released without any edge lettering at all. Others have the edge lettering doubled, upside down, or even missing keywords. These errors gained a lot of attention when the presidential dollar series began in 2007, and they remain highly collectible. Another modern error that has become popular is the delamination error, which occurs when a coin's surface layer begins to peel away due to impurities in the metal. This creates a flaky, blistered appearance on the coin's surface. While not as dramatic as some of the other errors, severe cases of delamination can still bring premium prices among collectors. Mint mark errors can also be valuable. The 1970 No. S. Roosevelt dime, which was struck without a mint mark even though it was supposed to have an S for San Francisco. These No. S. proof dimes are extremely rare and can be worth thousands of dollars. Some errors are caused by the dies themselves wearing down or being improperly prepared. One example is the cut error, which happens when a piece of the die breaks off, leaving a raised blob on the coin where part of the design should be. Cut errors can vary in size and shape, and larger ones are generally more valuable. Another die-related error is the die crack, which occurs when small cracks form in the die and transfer onto the coins, leaving behind raised lines or fractures in the design. While minor die cracks aren't always worth a lot, dramatic ones, like the bison horn die crack on some buffalo nickels, can make a coin more desirable. There's the strike-through error, which happens when a foreign object like grease, a piece of metal, or even a wire gets between the die and the blank planchet during striking. This results in missing design details or indentations in the coin's surface. Some of the most famous strike-through errors include coins with missing letters or areas that appear blank due to grease filling in the die. These are just some of the most well-known types of error coins, and there are always new discoveries being made in the world of numismatics. One of the most famous error coins in the United States is the 1955 double die Lincoln cent. This dramatic mistake was caused by a misalignment during the die creation process, leading to extreme doubling on the obverse. The date, as well as the words liberty and trust, appear as if they have been printed twice. Because the error was so bold, it quickly became one of the most recognizable and desirable error coins among collectors. The United States Mint allowed these coins to be released into circulation before realizing the mistake, making them extremely rare today. It is believed that approximately 20,000 to 24,000 of these coins were struck before the issue was discovered. However, many of them went into circulation, meaning that a significant portion of them have been lost or damaged over time. A well-worn example can still sell for several $1,000s. Another incredibly valuable error coin is the 1969 San Francisco double die Lincoln cent. Similar to the 1955 double die, this penny features strong doubling on the date and inscriptions, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. When these were first discovered, the Secret Service actually thought they were counterfeits and confiscated several of them before experts confirmed they were genuine mint errors. Unlike the 1955 double die, which had thousands of examples released into circulation, the 1969 San Francisco double die is much rarer, with only a few dozen known. Because of its extreme rarity, this coin has sold for over $100,000. Next, we have the 1972 double die Lincoln cent. This coin is unique because it has multiple varieties, with the strongest doubling appearing on what is known as Type 1. The doubling is most visible on the date and lettering, similar to the other double die cents, unlike the 1969 San Francisco double die, which is extremely rare. The 1972 version was released in larger quantities, meaning collectors still occasionally find them in circulation today. Experts estimate that approximately 20,000 of these coins were released before the mistake was caught. While lower-grade examples can sell for a few $100s, high-grade specimens can bring in over $10,000. One of the most well-known and valuable era nickels is the 1937 Denver three-legged buffalo nickel. This error occurred when a mint worker in Denver over-polished one of the coin dies, accidentally removing the front leg of the buffalo from the design. The result was a bizarre-looking coin that was released into circulation before the mistake was caught. Because this error is both dramatic and rare, it has become one of the most sought-after buffalo nickels. Even in lower grades, this coin sells for several $1,000s, while high-quality examples have been known to sell for over $100,000. A famous and incredibly valuable dime error is the 1975 No S Proof Roosevelt dime. Proof coins are specially made for collectors and should always have a mint mark indicating where they were struck, but in 1975 a small number of Roosevelt dimes were mistakenly struck without the S mint mark that should have been on coins made at the San Francisco Mint. These coins were never intended for circulation, making them exceptionally rare. Only 2 of these coins have been confirmed to exist, and they have sold for over $500,000 at auction. Because these coins were struck as proof coins and sold to collectors, it is unlikely that any more will be discovered in circulation. However, if another example is found, it could easily set a new record for the highest price ever paid for a Roosevelt dime. One of the most valuable modern era coins is the 1999 Wide AM Lincoln cent. On standard Lincoln cents from the late 1990s, the letters A and M in America should be close together, but due to a minting mistake, some pennies were struck using a proof-style reverse design, which left a wider gap between these letters. While not as dramatic as a double die, this error is still highly collectible, and high-grade examples have sold for several $1,000s. This error is not limited to 1999. There are also rare wide AM varieties for 1998 and 2000, although the 1999 version tends to bring the highest prices. Another incredible and valuable quarter error is the 2000 Delaware Spitting Horse quarter. This error occurs due to a die crack that appears between the horse's mouth and the edge of the coin, making it look like the horse is spitting. While die cracks are common, this particular variety has gained a lot of popularity among collectors because of how unique it looks. Depending on the condition, these quarters have sold for hundreds to thousands of dollars. One of the most famous half-dollar errors is the 1970 Kennedy half-dollar No FG. The FG initials, which stand for designer Frank Gasparro, are supposed to appear near the eagle's tail feathers on the reverse of the coin. However, in some cases, these initials were accidentally polished off the die, leaving them completely missing. While this may seem like a minor mistake, collectors love these types of errors, and high-grade examples have sold for several $1,000s. Another highly valuable and well-known quarter error is the 2004 Wisconsin Extra Leaf quarter. This mistake happened when additional markings were accidentally left on the die, making it appear as if there is an extra leaf on the left side of the corn stalk on the reverse of the coin. There are 2 main varieties of this error, the high leaf and the low leaf, and both are highly collectible. Depending on the condition, these quarters have sold for over $10,000. Finally, we have the 1943 Copper Lincoln cent, one of the most famous and valuable error coins ever discovered. During World War II, the United States Mint switched from making pennies out of copper to using steel coated with zinc in order to save copper for the war effort. However, a small number of copper planchets from the previous year accidentally got mixed into production, resulting in a few genuine copper pennies being struck in 1943. These coins were first discovered in the 1950s and quickly became one of the most legendary and valuable era coins in American numismatics. If you ever find one of these, you are holding a literal fortune in your hands. Even in lower grades, these coins have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in top condition, they have fetched over $1 million at auction. That wraps up our list of 10 of the most valuable era coins in the United States. These mistakes from the mint have turned ordinary coins into incredible collector's items, proving that it's always worth checking your change. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more about rare and valuable coins, be sure to subscribe to BK Collectibles and hit the like button. Let me know in the comments if you've ever found an era coin, and thanks for watching.